Welcome to the Unscripted Narrator. Here's where imagination knows no bounds and the realms of fiction come to life.
Kofi had always been the kind of young man who believed in the power of hard work and education. He had completed his university degree in business administration with honors, and after graduation, he felt ready to take on the world. With his cap and gown still fresh on his back, Kofi eagerly set out into Accra, filled with hopes of landing a job in one of the corporate offices. He had his CV ready, a polished LinkedIn profile, and the optimism of someone who had invested years of his life in pursuit of a degree. The first few weeks were full of excitement. Kofi spent hours every day applying for jobs, sending emails, and attending interviews. At first, the responses seemed promising. He got a few callbacks for interviews, and he felt close to securing a position at any moment. But as the weeks turned into months, the calls stopped coming, and the emails became increasingly silent. The rejections began to pile up. Kofi didn't give up. He went back to the drawing board. He updated his CV, took on a few short-term certifications, and even attended career fairs. But the job market in Accra, like in many cities, was competitive, and Kofi quickly learned that a degree alone wasn't enough. Many positions required experience that he didn't yet have, and others seemed to demand connections that he hadn't yet built. Months turned into a year. Kofi's savings began to dwindle, and the pressure started to build. His parents, though supportive, were growing concerned. They encouraged him to keep going, to stay positive, but even they knew that the job market wasn't what it used to be. One day, after yet another rejection email from a job he thought he was perfect for, Kofi sat on his bed in his small Accra apartment, feeling defeated. He stared at his phone, scrolling through the news, when an advertisement caught his eye: earn money driving with Bolt or Uber. It was a simple message, one that many had seen before, but for Kofi, it was a reminder that life didn't always follow a linear path. The idea felt humbling at first. Driving for an online car service wasn't the prestigious office job he had dreamed of, but it offered an immediate opportunity to earn an income. His pride took a hit, but his practical side told him that it was better to do something than nothing. With no other immediate prospects, Kofi decided to give it a try. He borrowed his father's car, he registered with both Bolt and Uber, and within a few days, he was behind the wheel of his old car, driving through the bustling streets of Accra. The traffic was chaotic, the roads were often congested. But there was something liberating about the freedom of being his own boss, even if just for the day. His first ride was for a businessman heading to OSU for a meeting. Kofi was nervous, but the man was kind and even tipped him well. That first tip felt like a small victory, a reminder that no work is too small if it's done with integrity. The days started blending together as Kofi spent hours driving around the city, through the busy streets of Lab 1, past the coastal stretch of Tima, and through the crowded lanes of East Legal. He had conversations with all sorts of people: a student on her way to university, a mother taking her children to the mall, a tourist fascinated by the sights of the city. Some rides were long, some were short, but they all brought a sense of connection, a reminder that Kofi wasn't alone in his journey. Each trip was a step toward regaining his confidence. The work wasn't easy. The hours were long, and the pay fluctuated. There were days when the cars felt like a prison, and the heat of Accra's traffic could be unbearable. But there was a rhythm to it, a sense of control Kofi hadn't felt in a long time. He was making money, and that was enough for now. As weeks passed, Kofi became more experienced. He learned the shortcuts, he found ways to deal with the demanding customers, and even started enjoying the calm moments between rides, listening to music or catching up on podcasts. Slowly, he built a new routine and a new network of people, many of whom offered encouragement and advice. Kofi realized that driving wasn't just about getting from one place to another, it was about the connections he made along the way, the stories shared, and the lives he touched, even if only briefly. One day, as Kofi sat in his car waiting for his next ride request, he thought about how far he had come. Although he hadn't found the corporate job he had once dreamed of, he had found something else: resilience. The experience had taught him that success isn't always a straight line. Sometimes you have to take a detour to make the most of the journey, no matter how unconventional it might seem. Kofi was still applying for jobs. He hadn't given up on that dream entirely, but he had learned to see his work as a driver as something more than just a temporary fix. It was his own way of surviving, of keeping moving, and of learning about the world, one ride at a time. And if he found that office job one day, it would be because he had built something real, not just through his degree, but through the grit and the stories of across streets. So, Kofi continued to drive. And in every street corner, in every passing face, he found another reason to keep going.
As our tale comes to a close, we hope it has ignited your imagination and left you craving for more adventures. If you enjoyed the journey we shared today, don't forget to show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel.